This video is for you young men out there, specifically for any of you who at any point have had just a single thought of the priesthood. Maybe some of you who haven't had a thought, but you've had other people tell you you'd be the great priest. But I was at Mass this morning and I was looking at my priest and I was thinking about what he had to give up to become a priest. And based on all the priests I've talked to and the young men, and the number one thing that often prohibits or hinders or scares a young man from becoming a priest is the idea that he'll never have sex. Now, ladies, I've said this in many videos, don't judge, because God made men to desire sex and to desire it frequently, and in most cases, to desire it more than women or you. I just want to be straight up, bold, clear. Men wake up, you young men, you wake up ready for sex. After puberty, you could have sex every day. I learned from other men and family members. One man, he was joking. He wasn't joking. He was being funny, though, when he once said to me, when I was a young teenager, all I could think about was having sex. And then he was a young married man. And he said, and after I'd have sex, all I could think about was the next time I'd have sex. And I remember for me, it was an eye opener, like, wow, really? You guys think that much? And all I've learned in my 60 years, the studies that have been done on the male brain and the female brain, the male brain lights up for sex 6 times more frequently than does the female brain, that their hypothalamus, the sex center, is so much bigger than the females, so on and so forth. Okay, so I could develop this topic all there is. So I want to validate you young men, that the desire to have sex emotionally, physically, is very, very powerful. And I do want to apologize too for what we've done to you young men in the society. Everywhere you turn, there's a billboard or a half-naked female that you have to look at and constantly avert your eyes. Okay, so I've set that up. So becoming a priest, oh my gosh, I can never have sex. I can understand why that would be very, very difficult of a thought. Because the idea of never having sex your whole life is something for a young man who, and let's just give you credit and say you've never had sex, is very scary when your body is telling you that that's what you want to have and know that you'll never have that for your whole life. So we'll put that on the table. But what I was thinking, and again, I've talked to hundreds of men, young men, old men, priests, non-priests. We're really choosing between two vocations, the vocation of marriage and the vocation of priesthood. And I want to ask you young men who are considering the priesthood or who are not considering it, but it's in your head and you're watching this video. Is it really a wife that you want, or is it sex? And I'm saying that seriously because what most young men enter into marriage, they fall in love with their beautiful woman and they're going to get married. And I'm not saying that you love her any less than she loves you. Women and men manifest that differently. But I am saying a male, when he gets married, often envisions we get to have sex all the time. I get to be with this beautiful woman. We'll have sex daily, or if not daily, very frequently. And that is appealing. And I could understand if, in fact, that were the case, why a man would want to sacrifice that. But let me help you understand the female perspective. Actually, both perspectives, male, female, and God's perspective. Because if, in fact, you want a wife, what comes with that are not only pros, but a lot of, the world would say cons, but I would say sacrifices as well, because neither vocation is perfect. But one of the greatest, to sacrifice means sacra, to make holy, and ficia, to make, right? So a sacrifice is supposed to make you holy. So first and foremost, if you really want a wife, it's like, I want someone with whom I can be made holy. I can sacrifice. And a sacrifice is not easy. And what is that going to look like in your marriage? It's going to look like you crave, and I'll start with the sex conversation because that's where I started this. You crave sex daily. But you often end up having it maybe in a young marriage once a week or once every 2 weeks. And as you age, often for you men watching this, it's often much less frequent than that. And that's where I see a lot of couples, even the happy couples, struggle because young men, if you're contemplating this, you're not going to have sex daily, and you often aren't going to have it weekly, and you're often going to struggle in that area because your wife does not want it as often as you. So you're sacrificing that. Marriage will be a constant choosing. If you say, I really want a wife, is you are constantly saying, I want a vocation of putting someone else's needs above my own. So if you choose marriage, you're going to be sacrificing your needs for her, living where she wants to live as opposed to where you want to live, doing often the things she wants to do more than the things you want to do. Not always, but I'm just putting this in kind of a perspective. You will have to often sacrifice seeing your family for the holidays because you'll see her family if, in fact, they don't live near each other. God made you the head of the household. If you choose the vocation of a husband, it does mean you will constantly be sacrificing and surrendering your needs, going without so that she can have. And then if the Lord blesses you with children, you're going to put your wife's needs first, your children's needs second, which means lack of sleep, going to their sports, paying for their sports, their music lessons, their food, and going without those sports and things that you want. There's so many, I have a list here, her family, so many things that you will be sacrificing. So what comes with a wife is a lot. And do you desire that? Like, yes. Because what women will often say, and you may find yourself in this, is my husband doesn't want me. He doesn't desire me. He just desires sex. And because he's married to me, I'm the one he happens to be stuck with. You may be a teenager watching this, but I'm trying to make you understand the responsibilities that come with manhood. And I'll come straight up and tell you, I love the idea of you wonderful, holy young men, strong, good looking, athletic, sports guys. It's not these dweeby, boring people with no personality that become priests. You, strong, athletic, good looking, happy, joyful, the prom king. You becoming priests. And I want you to understand first the sacrifices that will come with being a husband. Do you really want? Are you dreaming of a wife, a person for whom you have to give up, always to give to and make yourself second? Are you really saying, no, I just want to have sex a lot? And I'm not making you sound animalistic. I'm just trying to help you put into perspective these, help you think more thoughts than you may be thinking. Because when I've also talked to priests, they've given that up, and that is a cross. Oh, yeah. But they talk about all the things that they've gained. So I think about some of my grandsons, the mobility of one grandson that just loves the freedom to come and go as he pleases. And he may not want to be hindered by a wife. So as a priest, you don't have to sacrifice saying, oh, I would rather watch football or I'd rather watch this show, but I have to watch what she wants. As a priest, just thinking of these more secular things first, right? You have the freedom to come and go as you please to greater or lesser degree. You will have children, but you'll have the whole parish. You'll get to have dinner with whom you want, when you want. You will always be desired. Someone's going to want you in your time, in your ear. You will constantly get to give, but you'll also have a little bit of freedom to choose, more so than if you have committed to a wife. But the greatest thing, if God's been pricking at you, if you think you've been hearing the Holy Spirit say, about the priesthood, your hands, no other men's hands in the whole world can take bread and in your hands allow God to make it the body of Christ, the physical beating heart of Christ in your hands. And you will get to feed every single one of us. And above and beyond that, which maybe we should ponder that. You are God's vessel. And Mother Mary has often said when she's spoken to mystics, you are God's chosen sons. You could have a wife and you could be very happy. So many marriages are very happy. They come with sacrifice, but they're very happy. I do not want to make you think that marriage is not a beautiful vocation. It's awesome. But in heaven, it has been said too by the saints and the mystics that you know who all the priests are because their hands glow. They will always, for all of eternity. Remember, husbands aren't having sex in all of eternity. Once you die, there's no sex for anybody, priests or husbands. But for all of eternity, you will have an elevated, it's making my heart want to cry right now, this elevated status in all of heaven because of what you did for the kingdom, because of what you sacrificed. And there is sacrifice with the priesthood, starting with what we just said, sex. You won't have a single wife that's yours. You won't have a person that's your person. But you'll have so many other things, so many other gifts, so many other blessings, and I dare say greater blessings than will come to me or the man who didn't choose the priesthood. Oh, I'm bursting right now for you. Don't quickly put that thought out of your head. If your mom sent you this video or your aunt or something, take it privately. You don't have to say anything to them, but go ask the Lord to show you all the gifts and graces that will come with the priesthood above and beyond what I have mentioned. Talk to a priest. You will be building for yourself a freeway to holiness, a freeway to the higher levels of heaven, levels I wish I could attain. If God is calling you, there's a reason. He's planted beautiful things within you, gifts, talents, skills. You may not be the smartest. I remember one priest, he's like, I struggled through school all the time. I almost didn't get in seminary because my grades weren't good, but he was so humble and holy a priest. Once he worked through that, some priests, as we know, have handicaps. Some priests struggle in so many areas that their priesthoods, when people talk about them, they're like, but he shines particularly because of those things that caused him to be humble and feel less than. This will elevate you above anyone. Not in a secular pride way, but in God's hierarchy. Consider the priesthood. Consider what God is calling you to do and make the right decision. No one will be disappointed if you choose a wife, especially not your wife. And no one will be just pleased with you, specifically not God, if you choose the priesthood. Open your heart and your mind to really hearing truth. Just say to God, let me hear truth, whichever one it is, because there are pros and cons on both sides. I look forward to seeing you on an altar one day, whether it's being ordained or married. God bless you. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching an informational Bacon Bit. And as always, remember to live your life sunny side up.